Delaney Bayles has been voted the #1 juggler for the last 3 consecutive years. You see, jugglers from all over the world vote in Luke's top 40 jugglers of the year voting video, and we decide what jugglers has made the biggest impact that year. She is even considered to be one of the greatest female jugglers of all time. So if you're anything like me, you're wondering, how did she do it? Well, I believe it's in the way she practices. So for the next 7 days, I'm going to be training just like she does to see if I improve, and if so, by how much. Alright, so the first thing I gotta do is figure out what her practice routine is. Thankfully I have her Instagram, so I can just DM her and hopefully she responds. Of course, I'm not that big. But I'm going to go ahead and put my message on the screen so you can see what I'm saying. Alright, now we just wait for her response. So she wants to know what Spencer's video is like. I'm just going to send her the link for that. Perfect. She's cool with it. That's great. What is your practice routine like and how long does it normally take? Something like that. Okay, so yeah, long response. I'll put it right here. She says that overall she's pretty busy, and I can totally relate to that because I'm going to be working 8 to 5 every day. So when I come home from work, the first thing I'm going to do is juggle for 1 hour like she does. So it'll be pretty similar practice times because we both have busy schedules. Okay, now I'll just ask her like what type of juggling props she'll use and any tips for doing that. So like I said, I'm going to be practicing just like Delaney for the whole week. And that means I'm going to also have to develop a strategy going into this. What I'm going to be juggling beforehand, I have to know that. And I'm not very big on breaking down the tricks and practicing the small numbers because it's not as fun to do. But that's what Delaney does when she wants to get better at the trick. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Now, over this 7-day period, I want to focus on 4 main tricks. These are 2 very different tricks, but very popular nonetheless by Delaney Bayles. One is with rings and one is with clubs. So for rings, I want to do a version of pancakes and a 7-ring cascade. And for clubs, I want to do body throws and cascade plus a glue. Now, I also noticed that she likes to juggle in her living room, so we're going to replicate that. It is day number 1 and the first practice session begins. Keep in mind that Delaney told us to use just 1 juggling prop for an hour of practice, and that's what we're going to be doing with the rings. So I'm deciding to work on pancakes first because it's a really difficult trick and it always has been for me. So hopefully we can set a good benchmark goal here on this first practice session so that when day number 7 comes, we have something good to compare it to. And as you can see, I kept going back and forth between the 5-ring and 3-ring pancake throws to really get a good sense of how the basics are supposed to be. There you have it. I have a benchmark of 6 catches. To juggle 7 rings at the same time, you need to have really good precision. So we're going to break it down by throwing the 4 in the right hand to the left hand over and over again. Then we can try the 7-ring flashes, but it's really difficult to do. So I do that for a long time, and eventually I'll get a little bit better, not that much better. I'm hoping for much more by the end of this. And there we have it, folks, a benchmark of 12 catches. Okay, so I just finished the first training session. That was a lot of fun, but kind of worried that I'm not going to be able to do it as well as I hoped at the end of it. So I guess we'll see. All right. Day number 2, time for the second juggling session, but this time it's going to be with juggling clubs. The reason I decided to work on body throws as one of Delaney's tricks is because I've seen her do it in person and I was absolutely amazed. But when I try to do it, it's not always as good. However, I have spent many years working on this trick, and I've decided I'm not half bad at it. So just continuing to work on the basics and then get better and better day by day. And today, we got a benchmark of 5 catches. A trick that I have never practiced more than 10 minutes of my life is this, juggling while balancing a club on my nose, or as Delaney says, cascade plus glue. Just keep in mind that there's not really any glue. I mean, it's just a mess. So as you can see, I'm balancing that one on my nose, and then I'm practicing throwing a club underneath it while holding the balance. Then I move up to 2, and then I keep going until I feel confident enough to try 3. So here it is with 3. It's not going that well. Remember, it is very hard to do a pattern under the balance because all you want to focus on is juggling those clubs, and it's hard to focus on both at the same time. So we set a benchmark of 11 catches for this. All right, good news. I just finished the second practice juggling clubs, and it went pretty well, much better than yesterday. So tomorrow we're going to go back to the rings and keep improving. Day number 3. Today we're going to be practicing pancake throws again and 7 ring cascade. So the goal is to do it better than we did it on day 1. So I'm going to start this practice off again with the basics by juggling the 3 ring pancakes and then moving on to 5 ring pancakes. And they're not as yummy as they sound. They are difficult and they can hurt me. However, this practice I'm doing a little bit better than the first one, so I'm proud of that. But it's not perfect, so I just gotta keep going and figure out some new advice. Okay, so something I've noticed is whenever I'm flipping it kind of loosely, it like tends to wobble, and whenever I'm firmly flipping it up, it's really steady. With that in mind, I was able to beat what I did on day 1, so I'm very happy about that. Here I am throwing up 7 rings again, hoping for the best. Of course, I worked on breaking down the trick a lot too, but I didn't want to bore you to death with it, so here's all of my decent attempts, and this one is my best one yet, but hopefully I still improve from it. Alright, that's a wrap. I did great with the 5 ring pancake throws, however not so great with the 7 ring cascade. It's day number 4. We made it over halfway through the week, which is awesome. And it's even more special because I get to work on my favorite trick again, body throws. Here is some 3 club attempts. To do the balance again, I have to have a lot of patience and concentration. So I'm starting it off with the basics, and I'm going to keep working up all the way until I can get to juggling 3 clubs under that pattern. Wow, I definitely noticed some improvement since the first practice with clubs. It's day number 5, and again, I'm going to be doing another ring practice. Hopefully, we're seeing a lot of progress that comes out of these sessions, and I'm not just wasting my time, because I like to enjoy my afternoons after work. But hey, if we're improving on these tricks, then this is totally worth it. Now, I have not been having much luck with juggling 7 rings, so I'm really going to try to focus on the basics here, trying to understand how to throw these rings up right. And eventually, after a couple of flashes, I noticed that something was messing up with my left hand. Every time I was throwing those 3 rings up, they were hitting the other ones, so I decided to end the practice with really focusing on that. And it's day number 6, just like that. It's crazy how a little bit of editing can make a week fly by like it's nothing. So we're going to continue practicing. It is the last practice before the final day where we get to compare how far we came, comparing ourselves to those benchmarks that we set on day number 1. So our practice looks pretty good here. And if you aren't subscribed already, please do. Push that little red button. It would make a big difference. Thanks. It's finally day number 7. I made it, which means I'm about to do my last practice, and I want to set records for all of these tricks. Wow, I just caught for 20 catches under the balancing club. I would say that's a pretty big difference between the first day of practice where I got 11. Okay, that was just 13 catches of body throws, which is over double from day one. I think practice makes perfect, especially when you're doing it Delaney style. This trick was still a lot better than day number one. However, I only allowed myself 1 hour of practice, so I moved on to 7 rings and I blew myself away. I just got 16 catches of a 7 ring cascade, which I had never done before. So Delaney, thank you so much for the tips. I hope everyone that watched this video can learn from it. Thanks for watching the video, guys. I am very exhausted from that practice. But as you can tell, I definitely improved since the first one. So that means Delaney's practice definitely makes a big difference. Like and subscribe.